This is the Chamber Chat Podcast, the show dedicated to chamber professionals to spark ideas and to get actionable tips and strategies to better serve your members and community. Hello, Chamber Champions. Welcome to Chamber Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Burton, and it's my goal here on the podcast to introduce you to people and ideas to better help you serve your chamber members and your community. Our title sponsor is Community Matters, Inc. With nearly 20 years in the chamber industry and over 100 media awards presented to their chamber partners, Community Matters provides the R&R that every chamber needs: revenue and recognition. When it comes to publishing a chamber map, directory, or community guide, Community Matters has a trusted experience to help your chamber accomplish your goals. With different advertising sales models and publication styles, Community Matters will help you create a non-dues revenue machine. Let's hear from Becky Womble, President and CEO of the Bastrop Chamber, to hear about her experience using Community Matters.
I've been using Community Matters for probably 6 or 7 years now. And in a previous life, I sold commercial printing. So I can highly recommend Community Matters because it's a complete turnkey job for any busy chamber exec. Basically, you give them a membership list, and from there, they contact your members, and it's no high pressure sales or anything. And it really is a complete turnkey job from start to finish. And it's a wonderful, beautiful printed product whenever you're finished. And I'm very sold on Community Matters. And with a printing background, big endorsement for me.
To learn how Community Matters can support your chamber with your next publication, please visit communitymattersinc.com/podcast to request your free media kit and request a proposal to find out what kind of non-dues revenue you can generate. Our guest for this episode is Bryce Riggs. Bryce currently serves as the Executive Director of the Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce and Destination Seneca County, the county's Visitors Bureau. Since taking this position in July 2020, both organizations have received a breath of fresh air and a surge of energy. The chamber has significantly grown their membership by making it the highest membership it's ever seen historically. The chamber is on its way to becoming one of the strongest in Ohio, while Destination Seneca County has become the one-stop shop and trusted resource for the community and visitors of Seneca County. The Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce received the 2023 Outstanding Chamber of the Year from the Chamber of Commerce Executives of Ohio, and Destination Seneca County has received 6 statewide awards from Ohio Travel Association within the last 2 years. Bryce, I'm excited to have you with us today on Chamber Chat Podcast. I'd love to give you a moment to say hello to all the listeners and to share something interesting about yourself so we can get to know you a little better.
Perfect. Hello, all Chamber Chat Podcast listeners. As Brandon said, my name is Bryce. I think interesting about me is I kind of a vast background in terms of I've worked in economic development, I've worked in development work with fundraising, and now the chamber. And I think, they always say there's not one job that prepares you for the kind of role like this in the chamber. But I think I've been fortunate that I kind of see the business background side of things, and I've seen, kind of the development. As we all know, without fundraising and raising those dollars for our organization, we really can't do the fun and transformational things that we want to do always. And so the fun fact about me is that, only 30 years old, but I've had some really unique experiences that have kind of helped me prepare me for this role with the Chamber of Commerce.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's not the perfect resume per se to become a chamber, executive, but certain things do tend to give you experience that you can definitely lean upon as you go about that as a career. So take a little bit of time, get a few minutes, tell us a little bit more about the Seneca Regional Chamber, size of the chamber, scope of work you guys are involved with. Obviously, you've got the tourism side as well, staff, budget, that sort of thing, just to kind of set the table for our discussion.
Yeah, we're unique as a chamber because we do the tourism side as well. We see, especially in the state of Ohio, there's only a few of us left because I have to say there's kind of 2 different missions, and for both organizations, being the chamber and Destination Seneca County. So it's been the joy of keeping Menti folks happy across the board for our chamber partners as well as our tourism partners. Staff right now, we have 3.5 team members. We've historically been about 3 team members. the majority of the time of existence of the chamber. We brought on a part-time marketing specialist within this last year. We're pretty fortunate from a staff level wise. We have one employee that's been here for 28 years, who's our voice of reason, we call her, and our seasoned vet, and obviously a lot of institutional knowledge. We have, that's Deb Martirana. We have Marissa Stevens, who's been with the organization now going almost 3 years, and then for me, almost 4 years with the organization, about 3.5 years. But with that, and then also with the chamber budget for 2024, I'm probably the king of outspending, but also the king of raising additional dollars. So $322,000 for the budget for the chamber for 2024, and then for Destination Seneca County, about $178,000 we have for the budget for Destination Seneca County. Really, the big thing with us is, I like to say, really the value we provide back to our membership is, we're big about listening and understanding their needs. We do a membership survey every year where we understand, hey, what's important to you. And the big thing is just as things change, as times change, making sure that we have the information, we have the tools, we have the programming that makes sense. As an organization, we're unique where we put out all our events for the following year at our annual meeting in October. So we do our annual meeting in October. We release a full slate, but as things change, for example, the Damar Hamlin situation with the NFL last year with the cardiac arrest in the field, we were able to do a CPR, AED, and first aid training within 2 weeks post that scenario, and so we've continued to keep that as part of our plans. But we adjust. I think like any other business partner we work with, we want them to be nimble and make decisions quickly. And I think that's kind of what we've been good at, is just being active in the community, being very transparent, and being engaged.
Yeah, I love that example. I like having the kind of that map for the year, saying here's our main events and things that we've got scheduled, but to be able to be nimble enough and not so rigid that when something of importance comes up, you can say, yes, let's fit that in and have some focus on that, and not have it derail the rest of your plan for the year as well. So I think that's super important. So as we kind of settled on a topic for this episode, we're going to focus most of our conversation today around creating a culture for huge results. And we'll get into why we came across that as soon as we get back from this quick break. Are you looking for a year-round, affordable, and timely shop local campaign for your chamber or CVB? Look no further. Build a custom Eat, Shop, Play mobile app with App My Community by visiting appmycommunity.com/chamberchat. App My Community mobile apps are not just simple membership directory listings. They provide many more capabilities to engage with your community. Provide your residents with a robust events calendar. Partner with a local fair, festival, or farmers market to provide a schedule, map, and other resources to promote the event. Run a small business Saturday campaign any time of the year using built-in scavenger hunts. Allow your membership to communicate directly to their customers via push notifications. Your App My Community mobile app will be a unique member benefit, allow you to generate non-dues revenue with sponsorship opportunities, and best of all, provide a valuable resource to your community. Please visit appmycommunity.com/chamberchat now to receive 10% off your first year of an App My Community mobile app. Are you struggling to manage your Chamber of Commerce and build a thriving commerce community? Chamber Nation is here to help. Their all-in-one platform allows you to easily manage member information, events, and communication. Plus, their community engagement tools help you communicate with local businesses and residents to drive economic growth. With Chamber Nation, you'll have everything you need to succeed. So why wait? Visit richardscalendar.com to learn more and start building.
Howdy, it's me, Donna from Yiftee again. Today we get to hear from Christine in upstate New York about her Shop 716 community card program. She was able to use sponsorship funds for a generous buy one, get one program that benefits her whole county.
Hi, this is Christine Langenfeld with the Amherst Chamber of Commerce located in Buffalo, New York. We have partnered with Yiftee on our Shop 716 e-gift card program that has been incredibly impactful for our small businesses. So happy to have incorporated this program in our Shop Local initiative here in Western New York. I highly recommend them and give them a chance to show what they can do.
Thanks, Christine. So, folks, check us out at Yiftee.com and sign up for a demo or shoot us an email at sales@Yiftee.com.
All right, Bryce, we're back. I mentioned before the break, we're going to focus our conversation today about creating that culture for huge results. And sometimes it takes a different perspective, maybe an outsider's point of view, to be able to see where there's some gaps and opportunities within an organization. And I'm maybe making some assumptions, but you guys have seen some significant growth in a variety of different ways since you've come on board there at the Seneca Regional Chamber. So I'd like to maybe have you highlight what some of those big growth areas are, and we can kind of dive into what has kind of fueled that growth and the culture being built there at the Chamber.
Yeah, I think probably the big thing is, and I should have noted this earlier, but membership-wise, we're at 540 members, give or take. But we've seen since I started in July 2020, we've been fortunate. We've seen a 65% increase in membership, and for me, it's increase in membership is nice. We have other chamber partners that do those membership drives, and they really get people out, and they're really kind of one-time. Some folks are one-time infusions of cash into the organization, which is nice to keep things afloat. But the big thing for us is the retention standpoint. Once we get them on, do we have a process, and we've kind of created a process within the last year and a half about the onboarding and making sure that everyone kind of gets the same experience when they come on board, and that's kind of helped with our retention rate. We have a 94% retention rate that we've had consistently over the last 2 years. And again, influxes of cash are nice for the organization, but how do you keep those coming back and keep our partners happy? Membership surveys are great. We get a lot of responses on that. It allows them the opportunity to dialogue with us. And ours is all anonymous, so they can kind of dialogue and kind of put it all out there. My feelings don't get hurt because we only grow as an organization. We realize our shortfalls. And then really the big thing is too, we've seen with the membership growth has been kind of our non-dues revenue has grown over 164% within the last. We moved to a new sponsorship model in the end of 2020 going into 2021, where we asked our partners one time for sponsorships. When I started in July with COVID pushing things back, I think we had like 5 events in basically 5 months. And it was, I was the guy that was calling and saying, "Hey, it's Bryce. I was fortunate part of this community, so it wasn't really much of an introduction, but it was, hey, we have this event, the golf outing. Do you think you can make an investment to help support us?" "Oh yeah, that's fine." Okay, then the golf outing takes place, and then the educators breakfast. "Hey, it's Bryce again. Can you cut me another check?" And so, like anything in life, there has to be a better way. And so we moved to a one-time ask model in 2021, and that's been super successful for us. We have 4 tiers: platinum, $3,000; gold, $2,000; silver, $1,000; and then bronze, $500. And we just packaged everything else we've done in the past, and we just said, "Hey, this is the price tag of $3,000." Our largest donor historically had given us $2,250 on average every year, and so okay, let's bump that to $3,000, and we'll do it one-time ask model, and that's been super successful for us as an organization. Right now, we're actually going through our fundraising model kind of drive at the end of the year. And last year, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Last year we raised $175,000 in literally 1 month. This year we're sitting at $165,000 going to the end of the year. I've a few that will outdo what we did last year. We're finding, obviously, with inflation and other factors, money's a little more tight, but I think the biggest thing for us as a chamber, it's more relationship based rather than the monetary aspect. When we get through this, it's basically, "Hey, Steve, this is Bryce with the chamber. You have a team in the golf outing. Just let me know who your 4 golfers are, and then we're looking forward to seeing you." And then the conversation's over with. And so when we call, it's no longer, "Oh my gosh, the chamber's
Let me
calling.
check the budget." Yeah.
What do they want? Do they want, they're calling again for the golf outing or calling for this? but it's really allowed us to take our relationships with our members more to the, professional to the more personal, because they realize now that like when I call, I'm not asking for anything. I'm not asking for them for money. It's like asking them how we can help, or hey, I saw you're doing this or that. Can we stop by and take a picture to help promote it? Hey, you're doing this. How can we help you with that? And so it's kind of allowed us to transform the organization a little more than we've done in the past.
Yeah, that's great. So on the membership, and maybe I misunderstood, but how did you go about that big increase in membership? Did you guys do a membership drive, or is that just built kind of grassroots? How'd you guys approach that?
The biggest thing is no membership drive. It was all grassroots, and I always said when a chamber gets new energy, gets new leadership, there's always an opportunity to, I would say that first year, and in my opinion, is the most important year. It's, sometimes, you'll take over a chamber that maybe in the past has been stagnant or very successful. And it's like, okay, you have to pave your way on why you're different. What's your value proposition? And so for us, a lot of it was, before when we meet with a new member, our value articulation was not great. It was like, hey, join the chamber because it's good for the community. Well, when COVID hit and things hit the fan, people love the community. I love the community, but we look at our budgets and it's like, okay, this is good for the community, but this is also good and this is good. And so now you're kind of in a match with other great community organizations, but okay, am I getting return value back? And so we kind of launched our 4-point approach in my first month and said, hey, look, this is the 4 reasons why you should join the chamber, where we had set up kind of topics underneath each one of them. And at the time, I could say it was kind of crazy because some of the stuff didn't really make sense because we hadn't built the plane yet. We're just kind of like selling a bag of goods that we, hadn't yet done it yet. But it's like, look, this is where we're going to go. Believe in us, trust in us. Again, I'm from the community. So for me, it was a lot, I've had a track record of doing things the right way. And so with us, it was just like, how do you articulate that value back to someone? And then I think it just became, my first month, we had like 15 new members. My next month, it was 15 new members, and kind of like a forest fire. Once you create that spark, it's like, look, you have to take advantage of it. And our biggest thing is that we will not accept a new member to the Chamber of Commerce until we meet with you in person. And so it's not just me. We have other chambers. It's their membership director or their membership coordinator meets with them. The CEO doesn't. To me, I think that's like the worst thing you could do. And so for me, I take my staff, my entire staff, is the 3 of us, the part-time employee does not, but the 3 of us go out and we go to their business. We meet with them. This morning, I was at a museum that was 45 minutes away, and we traveled there as a team, and we came back as a team because at the end of the day, they knew who we all are. They call the office and I'm not in, and Deb answers the phone. They've met Deb before. Deb knows who they are, what's important to them with the 4 points, how we can best assist them. If they run into Marissa on the street corner, Marissa knows who they are, what they're about as an organization. And so for us, it's, again, how do you take those relationships past the professional to the personal side of things? I think is huge. And that for us, again, it's that wildfire that we've just continued to keep it going. And we just, for us, when someone goes to cut the check to the chamber at the end of the year, in July, it's, I want them to look at us as a staff and say, hey, when I don't cut this check to the chamber, it's not to the chamber. I'm not cutting this check to Bryce, to Deb, to Marissa. And I think it's that personal touch that kind of, makes the ties a little bit stronger between the organizations.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps with that, to have that 94% retention rate that you guys are seeing now. I mean, when you have that personal touch, you meet the members, you have that introduction, they get to know all the staff, you better understand their business. I love the example of the museum this morning that you gave. This 45-minute drive there and back all together as staff. I imagine on the way back, there may be some discussion and ideas shared amongst staff about how to help this new member. Who can we connect them with, or what would help make them successful? And there's so much value in traveling together and doing that, as a team. So I love that.
For us, it's I would say, I think we all are bought into it. And for us, it's like, look, wherever we see someone, we know who they are, what they do, why they're doing it, and it's the why. I like to say that why is what makes the difference.
So I'm anticipating people listening are like 4-point approach. Okay, what are these for? Like, do you mind giving us the pitch real quick? What the 4 points are? And granted, every chamber is different. You're offering different things potentially, but what are those 4 areas that you focus on when you are approaching a potential member?
Yeah, so we dive in. We kind of introduce who we are first as a staff and a little more the personal side of us again, and then we talk about Destination Seneca County because when I first started, the tourism bureau wasn't very active. It was kind of the inactive arm of the chamber. But for us, we kind of explain who they are, what they do, why they're important to the bigger picture, and then we flip over to the 4-point approach and we talk about the membership survey and we say like, look, we don't determine what's important to you. We listen to you, we understand, and we can talk more about their business and kind of understand where their gaps are at and how we can help fill those gaps. And then we kind of go through the 4 points and based on their story, we kind of then dive in. Like, for example, the museum, they're getting ready to go through, they're a new location, they just moved. And so it's a promotional side of things. And we kind of dive in, hey, we're an information source. We get a ton of phone calls, but we do a ton of social media. This year, actually, we'll reach 2.6 million people on all our social platforms for our reach. And then for the Visitors Bureau, we have an additional, it's about 2.9 million we'll do as well. So we kind of talk about quantifying the personal experience. And so when we talk about our members, we talk to them as people, not as businesses. It's kind of how it all connects to each other. And then we also talk about, for them, ribbon cuttings, bread and butter of a chamber. We do things a little bit differently. Last year we did over 40 ribbon cuttings last year. We have a photographer. We invite elected officials, our ambassadors, which are super engaged, our board. Most ribbon cuttings we have over 30 to 40 people attend each one. So for us, it's an energy opportunity. It's the excitement. People kind of bought in. And one thing I should know too, we sent out a calendar invite for all our first contacts for every organization that's a member. We send out a calendar invite with a description for all the events we do, including ribbon cutting. So even if you can't go, you at least understand new business, who owns it, what do they offer, what are their hours. We send it to our political officials, our media. And so those are always a good thing as well. And then we'll jump to like relationships. So we have after 5 networking events like most chambers do, which I won this last week. Our golf outing is wildly popular. We had 55 teams in our outing last year, and then 2 flights sold it out. And then we'll talk about our casino night that we do as well, and then just different membership engagement opportunities to build relationships. We have like networking groups like a Industrial Management Council. We have we're involved in the Human Resources Association, so kind of different people within the organization can be engaged as well. We have resources and savings is our 3rd point usually we talk about, and that's obviously saving people money, which people appreciate. So we have run a chamber cash program that looks just like a check, and a lot of people are moved to like Yiftee and there's other things, but we've been fortunate last year we sold over $110,000 in chamber cash, which keeps money locally infused in our community. We have a member-to-member benefit card that we do as well. It's been really popular. 55 different discounts to different restaurants and businesses throughout the community. And our biggest thing is when I first started, we engage often with like the top tier management, so the CEO, CFO, COO. But okay, how do we take the chamber message and bring it down to the employees? And so we now have these nice laminated, they look like gift cards.
Okay.
We give to all our member businesses, their employees. And so I joke I'll be at the local watering hole and 3 people in front of me will pull out the chamber card and get their 15% off at the restaurant when we're there. And so it's kind of nice to see. I joke it's kind of like a call at that point, but I'll take it. But it's again that chamber messaging of this is the chamber, and every time they scan it, it goes to our website. And so it's that name ID, not just with top tier, it's through the whole organization. Your energy programs, your health insurance, those programs as well fall into that. And then last is education, where we do power hours, which is the professional development from our members to our members. We kind of talk about like like AI is a topic for January. We have one with Canva in March. We have a CrossFit crash course in June. We have a golf 101 event. So just some fun professional, personal opportunities. We have Wisdom Wednesdays, which is more that personal. So it's like the Myers-Briggs test. You take it. We bring someone in that kind of puts people in groups. We kind of talk about what the results mean. And then like Leadership Seneca County, which is our leadership group, and other educational opportunities we offer to our members throughout the year as well. So really that's kind of the 4-point approach. And then we kind of, based on what they tell us, we say, hey, based on what you said, this is probably a good fit for you. We'll get you connected. We'll make sure you get the info. And then it's like, again, as many as you can, how do you connect the chamber to the organization, provide that value so when they go to renew, where they decide they want to join, there's enough value there that they're like, hey, this makes sense. I have to join.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I love that it's condensed down enough to 4 points. So hopefully any member of the staff can take that and kind of tell the story of the benefits that your chamber has to offer to these businesses that are considering joining. So that's awesome. So let's maybe shift a little bit and talk about things that you guys do maybe organically there at the chamber to keep the passion for the staff on a high level, to keep them engaged and involved with the community and really just loving what they do.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is that's kind of our sweet spot. I think that's our secret sauce. I tell people is that our staff here is fantastic, and I know that in the worlds we live in, it's as a nonprofit organization, it's hard to pay accordingly. It's hard to make the opportunities available to our staff. But my biggest thing is like, look, it stops from the top down as us. And so my staff sees me out in the community, they see me at community events, they see me at, all these opportunities that exist. And, the biggest thing with us is that we invest in our staff to go to these things. And so if I have, Deb, I want to go to this event, and the chamber will pay for our staff to go do continuing educational opportunities, to go to community events. We're fortunate with some of the non-dues revenue increase that we've had over the years, that, I always say it pays to play to a lot of these events. And it's tough because it's like not every chamber has the budget to be able to do this. But for us, it's just like we get along well, we communicate well, we keep things fun. And that's, for us, it's important. If it starts with the staff, if your staff is energetic, engaged, it's kind of hard to go sell something that you don't believe in. My staff, we do Gene Fridays, we do, you name it, right? I provide flexible hours if you work in the evenings, which a lot of my staff does. You can take some time off here and there throughout the week, come in at 10, like that. One thing that we do as well, 3:00 Fridays, we close the office we do 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday. And then Friday we do 3:00. I kick you out. I don't care how much work you have left to do. I don't care how stressed you are. I kick you out because I think it's like, look, you got to go live life as is. It's crucial. And so, like, for us, again, I'll just say it just starts with the staff. And, if you can pay your staff, a livable wage, that's great. I talk to my staff. We do yearly reviews. I do all my yearly reviews in conjunction with the budget. So mine are all conducted in November. I sit down with the staff, I ask them questions, I send them a Google Word document, they type in their responses, and it's a dialogue. They put their stuff in, I put my comments in, we meet for lunch one-on-one, and we discuss kind of like your thoughts, my thoughts. And then at the end, I kind of say, look, and next year, this is what we're able to do based on your, health insurance is an issue. Okay, great. Based on that issue, we're able to do this. And so my biggest thing is, if you provide consistent feedback, reviews aren't supposed to be surprises, but for us, it's important to say, you got to show in a nonprofit role, you can pay them, you can allow them to grow as humans, you can allow them to have fun. But that's the big thing, is like, look, if you don't take care of your own team, you're not going to go very far as an organization. And a lot of chambers are one man, one woman shops. And so I'm fortunate I have a board that allows me to do what I do. And so I just, I tell the board, we had a discussion this last year. They said, hey, how much are you going to give your staff increases? And I just said to them, hey, I love you, but that's not your role. My role is to determine based on what their performance is, this is what I'm able to do. I do performance bonuses every year, but I just say give me the freedom and flexibility to pay my staff the way they should be compensated, and they don't ask. I just put it in the budget, and then it gets approved as an overall bigger picture.
I like that. I like being bold enough to say, yeah, I love you, but it's none of your business, right?
Yeah,
Let's stay in our lanes, right?
Correct. At the end of the day, the executive committee is responsible for my executive review and my salary. And we can talk about that within this framework, but just know that, my job is to get my staff in a place where they're making competitive wages and their benefits are great. We just launched a simple IRA this year for 2024 based on, again, concerns and needs for additional benefits. We've done, again, I'm willing to invest my staff in. They go to war for us every day. My job is to go to war for them so that they can get what they need to be successful.
Yeah, I love it. Well, as we start to wrap things up here, I wanted to ask if for anyone listening, who's interested in taking their chamber up to the next level, what maybe tip or action item might you have to offer them to elevate their chamber and kind of play it at that next level?
I'd say the biggest thing is I always communicate, be consistent and be persistent. When I started out, I was fortunate that I was kind of given the opportunity and said, hey, here's the keys to the car, drive how you want. I'm not ignorant in the way that I understand that I obviously have guidelines and I have a framework to do that within, but I would say look, if you're trying to be transformational, do things differently. It's like, you got to just be consistent with your approach, be persistent with your approach. Our big thing is, community. If you read our newsletter, you'll know it's from our community. You'll know the people that are in it. If you see our social media, you'll know it's about the people. So our big thing is just push the pace. When you get told no, we'll figure out how to get around it. Some sense knows, doesn't mean no today, but might be like, hey, maybe a later thing, or maybe there's another way to get to it. And so, my first job, I was a telemarketer, and I was always taught to do 2 rebuttals before you finally hung up the phone. And I very much live by that model. And so my thing is just be bold. Too many chambers that, I'll be honest, that we interact with, don't push the pace, are fine with status quo, which is great. But I think COVID kind of allowed folks to kind of see through that. Our job is, often in the world that we live in, the chamber world, the economic development agencies are here and the chambers are here, or the community development is here and the chamber is always below it. And so my big thing is look, when we get talked about in the community, I want people to know that look, we're on the cutting edge, we're doing things differently, and that, we're doing what's best for the community. So be bold, be persistent, and be consistent, and just, have fun. That's the big thing is, I've been here for 3.5 years, and early on people say, "Oh, Bryce, you're going to burn out. You're going to do this." It's like, yeah, there's some days I sit in our office and I'm like, "This sucks," but I would say it's not hard work. It's a lot of work. Just power through, and if you set yourself up and put your events out there, look, I got to do this, and this to get where I need to go.
Yeah, I love the honesty of, some days it just sucks. Yeah, you gotta move forward. You have a bigger, picture of, why you're doing it. And I love the idea of being consistent, being persistent. And there's so much value in that. And it leverages a lot of power if you're consistent and persistent on pursuing those goals and the potential of your organization. So as we look to the future of chambers, how do you see the future of chambers and their potential or their purpose going forward?
Yeah, I would say, that really the big thing is, again, that personal touch. I think two things I find is that shortfalls with the chamber world and industry is people run their nonprofits like a nonprofit. I say I run my organization like it's a business, because it's a business, and you got to invest in your people, you have to invest in your marketing, you have to invest in everything, right? I remember my first year I started, and we didn't have any money at all. But here I am, look, we're ordering 5,000 folders for new members, because guess what? We're gonna go out there and we're gonna spread the word, and we're gonna tell people what we got going on. I think that's the thing is don't, don't, the day you stop investing in marketing, this day you stop investing in your people is the day that, things are on the decline. You need to keep doing that. And I'd say really the big thing as well is, again, that's just that personal touch. You know, you got to stand out. A lot of organizations are in need, United Ways, you name it, right? That a lot of Salvation Armies, they need money. And to say that we're on the same playing field as them, but sometimes we are as chambers. And so we do things such as, every Christmas card we do, holiday card we send out, we send it to all our members' home addresses, because again, you could send a Christmas card or holiday card to their business, but it's great, it's the business relationship. We're trying to get to the next thing. So I would just say, if you're consistent and persistent with that personal touch and approach, that's where I see the chambers going, is that, we got to stay competitive in the marketplace in terms of funding. You got to stay competitive for, even like the tourism side of things, right? We have that arm of us, and that makes us more competitive because we can offer a different service that maybe another chamber couldn't. So sometimes in communities, the tourism side opens up, and that, there's an opportunity to get those dollars. Go out there, put yourself out there and really go for it. You might have to hire another staff member to get those dollars. But the more things you can add and the more things you can do to, be a resource to the community, I think that's where we're going, is that you're going to find only a few organizations are going to do the key things in the community. And, you got to be willing to change and adapt to it.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting twist you'd mentioned with the Christmas cards, to send them to their home address. So you're obviously collecting that information when they join the chamber. Or do you ever get any pushback of somebody like, I don't want to give a home address? This is about business organization.
This is why I tell you that I'm a little creepy. As I do white pages. 3 years ago, I started doing white pages, and I started doing auditor's office, and I started going through and finding things. And I'll be honest with you, we don't ask them for their home address.
You just
I just
find
go
it.
get it. It's the
Okay.
information that's available on the internet. You can do that. This last year, we just sent December. Last Thursday, our cards went out, and they got people's addresses on Saturday. Most of them did. But for us, it's like, look, I'll go out and get that information. It's a nice surprise because people are like, oh, I never gave them that address.
Yeah.
But it's, again, that touch.
So then are you putting it in your membership software with their account? So the next year you've got it all.
It's called our Christmas card address. It's a separate one. And so we just moved to growth zone within the last year. And so with that, we're making the adjustments and add-ons. But I've spent many long hours doing that, finding that information. To some people, it might be, meaningless, but I come in late at night and I just kind of churn and burn until I get through them. But it's important because, again, people will come to us and say, hey, I got your card at my house. That's really nice. And we're always the first card, and it's always goes to their house. So that's always important.
That's awesome. I love that touch. Well, Bryce, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share any contact information for listeners who might want to reach out and connect about some of these approaches, or how you guys are doing things there at the Seneca Regional Chamber. What would be the best way for them to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, go ahead and you can call my cell phone. It's 419-889-3932. And that's my cell phone. Just reach out to me. We'd be more happy to share information about what we have going on. Or you can reach out to me at Riggs, RIGGS, at SenecaRegionalChamber.com. And just shoot me an email. But there's a lot of different folks that I've met along the way. I do have a monthly Zoom with people across the country, other chamber professionals, because look, the day you think you've figured it out is the day that, again, the day you run your nonprofit like a nonprofit is the day that life becomes a lot more difficult for you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll get that in our show notes for this episode too, so people can look it up and reach out and touch base with you and learn more. But I appreciate you spending some time with us today here on Chamber Chat Podcast. I love hearing these stories of, you get a fresh approach at an organization and throw some fuel on the fire and watch it burn. I mean, you guys are doing an awesome job. So keep that momentum, keep up that consistency and persistence. And I think there's going to be even, bigger numbers, a year from now or 2 years from now. So I appreciate you sharing these insights and experiences with us today.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
If you are a chamber professional, please subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. When you subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast, new episodes will show up in your podcast app each week as they are released. If you're finding value in this podcast, please leave us a rating and a review in iTunes. But most importantly, please share Chamber Chat Podcast with your colleagues that are in the industry.